What's up, Hobby Maniacs? Rob Bear here today with a first look review of the new Horus Heresy Book 6 Retribution. This is an amazing book. It's a great starting point for all sorts of new folks out there that are getting into the Heresy because of the Plastic Betrayal at Chaos box set, and also for veterans alike because they update all of the Rites of War in here. You get new variant army lists. There's like at least two of them, and you get 4 new legions worth of rules in here. You get Dark Angels, Blood Angels, White Scars, and one other one that I completely forgot about already. That's bad. Anywho, what is it? Hold on. Let me check my notes here. Can't remember everything. It's like running out of RAM some days. Oh, the Dark Angels. How the heck could I forget those? Anywho. So yeah, that was embarrassing. So lots of good stuff in here. Again, some campaign rules and things like that with tons of fluff. And also, you know, it's just 300 pages of awesomeness, basically. But I feel like this is a great starting point for pretty much everyone. It's just like an auto pickup these days. And then, of course, they're coming out with, you know, they'll be coming out with the new, what are these things? The new Crusade books. They'll be coming out with these and the Legion campaign books as well. Now, these aren't the red books. These were the limited edition black ones from the collector set they put out a while back. But they're going to be updating the red books, so to speak, which those are literally the same thing as the red books. But they're going to be updating the red books. So basically, you know, you don't have to buy all 6 books. You can have the stuff and carry it around. And actually, you know what? Something else that I wanted to show you guys. This was part of that collector set too. They had these quick reference cards, which these are a great idea. And I'm hoping that when they put out the new red books, that they'll kind of be in the format where you can basically take these and go get them photocopied and laminated, because it's a lot easier to just have the cards, you know, your little flashcards and stuff on you than not, so to speak. So we're going to take a closer look, quick first look review on this one. But before we do that, we got to pay some bills. Make sure you stay in the trenches. Click on the Patreon link up there. Help us stay ad-free on YouTube this in 2016 as well, and score yourself some free miniatures while you help support us. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Check out the blog, SpikeyBitsBlog.com, and head on over to thelongwar.net. That's the home of the battle reports for exclusive content, early access videos, and all sorts of promotion codes to help you save money on the hobby and the things we do just about every day, you know, in the hobby here that we all know and love. And, you know, whether it's Horus Heresy or 40K, become a veteran of the Long War today. So jumping right into this, there's so much content in here, and you know, it's hard to become a subject matter expert overnight. You know, you get the book, and obviously I've got it early, and I had to pay a lot for it, I won't lie. But thank you to a special friend out there in York, England, that took care of that little favor for me. But you know, so we're gonna do a brief overview, and then we're gonna get into probably a second video on the changes, the actual changes, and kind of getting a little deep into it. I don't want to go too deep into it because there's just so much to cover, and you know, we've got so much other things going on here on the channel that I don't want to take away from anything we already are obligated to do. But I also want to show everybody how awesome this book is and how the changes in here are going to really affect a lot of things for a lot of people that are into the Horus Heresy itself. So it's your standard 300-page book. It got the great binding, you know, the little metal end pieces here, and you know, it's all very well done. If you ever get one of these books and it's messed up, just hit up Forge World. They'll replace it. I got one time. This actually is a decal, and it kind of had a line down the middle of it. And there was some glue stains, some adhesive stains right here, and they literally just sent me a new book. And I was like, well, thank you, because that was kind of buster, you know, stuff, cat hairs were starting to stick to it and things like that. So getting into the actual contents itself, now a lot of this stuff has been kind of spoiled, I guess, from the Horus Heresy Weekender itself. But then there's a lot more that really wasn't talked about and maybe just briefly kind of glossed over. So the contents are basically, you've got your fluff sections right here, which is talking about a lot of battles, a lot of things. The general Age of Betrayal stuff is kind of like explaining the Black Shields, what's going on with them, just kind of a general overview of where we are in the Heresy. And then upon the Anvil of War, I actually forgot what that one was about. But I remember something was really good. I think that was the one where the Salamanders were getting assaulted by a combined force of the Alpha Legion and the Iron Warriors. led by the show-only characters that they came out with from Forge World a few years back. And what happens is, it's a really exciting story. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's definitely a good read there. This one here was a Xenos kind of Mechanicum versus Xenos kind of battle kind of thing, and they're kind of showcasing some of the newer Mechanicum units like the Althnor and some of the Automantia, or automatons and things like that are coming out. The Eye as a Storm, man, I actually forget that one too. I've read so much in the past day and a half, it's just kind of all blurring together. But the Tooth and Claw, I believe that was the interesting story. Let's see. The Nostromo section was when the Blood Angels showed up in the Night Lord's system, and they were basically looking for people to fight. I forget which the Tooth and Claw one was. That was not Blood Angels. Well, let's go right to it. So, 103. Oh, okay, yeah. So this was a really exciting story. So this is the actual Ulrich Moore, the Iron Father of the Clan Morgul. He's actually the guy that becomes the Red Claws. The Red Claws are like a successor chapter of the Iron Warriors, excuse me, the Iron Hands. And so he was like the first guy, and he's basically like, kind of like the Imperial Fist kind of spun off the Crimson Fist, and that was all basically under what's his face. Man, I'm just drawing all sorts of blanks today. But it's that special character that came out from the Battle of Fall. Dang, I totally forgot his name. Anywho, so you kind of get where I'm going there. So basically, you're starting to see how these big legions are going to divide off into basically like kind of faux, I guess, proto-chapter kind of size. But things during the scouring after the Battle of Terra. So kind of gives you an idea of what's going on, and they're starting to introduce these characters. Oh, it was Alexis Pollock from the Crimson Fist, himself, and of course he is the Red Claw. So or the Red Talon. So you know what I mean. So they're basically making these monikers and kind of getting these things all in order for the big splits to happen. So anyways, the Iron Hands basically roll up on this World Eaters planet, where it's basically where they keep all their armored reserves, all their tanks and things like that, because they're kind of more going towards like an infantry assault force. And it's a really exciting battle, fluff-wise and things like that. And the book is amazing, just like every other book. They've really stepped up, and I want to show you some of the graphics from this battle. Actually, they've really stepped up their publishing game. I mean, they got fantastic looking graphics. You got this stuff here, and then you got this picture where they're looking out over this expanse right here. And then this stuff actually lines up with the kind of the rites of battle in here, and it's for all these battles as well. If you start kind of digging deep and looking at the fluff, here it is right here. So this is basically what's happening in this particular battle here that I was just explaining to you a little absent-mindedly. Please accept my sincerest apologies. Like I said, sometimes I run out of RAM. Stop holding downloading. So here is basically looking out from that picture I just showed you, looking out into this expanse right here from the suborbital assault of the Iron Hands themselves on the World Eaters kind of positions there. And then you can kind of get the whole rule of battle, and it goes into all that. Then it gets into the actual rules section after the scouring of the Nostromo sector, where the Blood Angels are going up against the remnants of what was left over from the Night Lord's Legion. And this was kind of cool. I like this little Ashen Claw. It's basically the Red Baron. The Grimdark's version of the Red Baron. Is a neat little kind of anecdote right there. And then it gets into all the campaigns and things like that. So first off, you've got this section here, which is the new campaign type for Horus Heresy Retribution campaign. It gets, it's got all sorts of stuff there, and it's I'm not going to get all into that because I actually haven't read it at all, but they've all been pretty good thus far. It's really fun to run a little six mission campaign kind of thing, and Horus Heresy, because it seems like 6 to 8 weeks is kind of like the perfect campaign size, so you get you and some of your buddies, and you're like, yo, we're gonna fight through this week, and we're gonna fight through this one. A couple weeks go by, take a break, paint up all your new stuff. Hey, let's do this one. You know what I mean? So, and it's all very narrative and very fun and fluffy. And like I tell people, some of the folks that are kind of frustrated with the way 40K is right now, I'm like, yo, if you like 3rd and 4th edition 40K, you will love Horus Heresy. I mean, I literally have had Contemptor Dreadnoughts like walk across the table, and that's unheard of in 40K. Usually you get blasted to pieces, but it's a very tactical and kind of like unridiculous kind of type game set, and it lets you focus on your hobby and also throw your stuff on the tabletop and know that it's not like too over the top broken in any one regard. So there's new updated rules for the Age of Darkness. Didn't really look at a whole lot of this section here, but I'm not sure what changed. Like I said, we'll do a little bit of a breakdown here in the next video. And then you got the Shadow Wars missions, which is basically what all this stuff here is. This is Shadow Wars. It's kind of like the Knights Errant, the Black Shield guys. You know, you've got all these secret things going on. You can actually make a, War Master kind of, indentured servitude kind of army kind of thing. It is really interesting stuff in here. Like I said, the graphics game is on point. Just amazing looking stuff. We've never seen anything like this in a Heresy book here in the past. So getting through all that, the whole campaign section, we get to the new Rites of War section, which is really good. They've updated all the Rites of War for all of the current legions, and then of course in here is the extra legions that we already talked about. The Shattered Legion section, it has a lot of stuff in here. So first off, it's got rules for basically, what's the term? So you can take a whole bunch of different legions and kind of throw them together, kind of making like a Horus Heresy All-Stars kind of army. And they take away, there's very specific legions rules that are not conferred, but then there's some that are conferred. So you got to do a lot of like kind of book work to kind of jump back and forth and kind of read them. Like Host of Angels is the thing where you can't have more vehicles than you have dudes on foot kind of thing. So keeping in that, you got to do a little bit of book work. But I mean, there isn't like, 13 codexes out there to do the book work on. Some of the stuff is kind of like a college course, and that's why, when I try to do a brief overview, I don't have all the answers. I'm just going off of what I've read and what I've previously, and then what I've read in the actual book. So I hate to misspeak sometimes, but it's just, we all don't get 100s in college. We're not going to get 100s on this video too. So just bear with me there. If I misspeak, hey, just drop it in the comments so everybody knows. No big deal, right? All right. So there's some restrictions on how they feel it. That's all right there. We'll go over that in a different video. But what's really cool about it is you can't like have a Primarch in here, but you can have like your normal Praetors and things like that. And there's different mission types, which is I guess Rites of War. So they can have their own Rites of War, but they can't take the Rites of War from the legions. And there's actually a third one in the White Scars itself that lets you kind of port it over to here, and we'll hit that when we blow through the White Scar stuff. So then there's the Knight Errant rules. You got Garrow, then also Tyros Rubio. He's the codicer from the Ultramarines, and then just the generic build a knight kind of thing. And they're all very interesting and very cool. Then it gets into the Black Shield section, which is kind of like, it's all shrouded in mystery. Like, are they good? Are they bad? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really know what's going on, so you can kind of build it either way. And I believe you have to say, when you do it, you have to say, hey, I am for the Emperor, or I am for the War Master. At some point here, I do remember reading that, which was really interesting too. And then they have, now they don't get, what is it? So they have these special rules because they're not subject to the special rules. They don't get their own Rites of War, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So they kind of have their own little Rites of War, but they have detractions to it. So it's kind of like the old 5th edition Space Marine book, if you remember that. You could take these traits, but you had to take 1 minus to your traits. So it's kind of like that in that regard. Some of these are good. Some of these are like, I don't know if I take those. But, we'll get to that in a different video as well. So just kind of giving you a brief overview. Then there's specific equipment. And what's really interesting is you can take all the normal equipment. You can have power armor and it becomes pariah power armor. You can have a flamer, it becomes a pariah flamer, a pariah bolter, so on and so forth. Then they have this new thing called the Xenos Deathlock, which is a little bit different, and it's it can hurt your squad, I guess. It's strength 5, AP 5, range 18, assault 2. So it basically goes from making your bolters no, that's the pariah bolter. Your pariah bolter basically becomes assault 2. That's what it is. So you can shoot your bolters and still assault, but you become disordered. So I thought that was kind of neat. This one here is a little bit different. The lethal exposure rule. If a unit fires more than one weapons with a special roll in the shooting phase, roll a 2d6. If that roll result is less than the number of deathlock shots fired by the unit in that phase, the unit itself, the firers, suffer a wound with no armor saves on a model selected by its owning player. Do not roll for lethal exposure in the case of Overwatch fire. So it could hurt your squad depending on how big it is, but then, it's got the deathlock special roll. The test... what is it? A unit has suffered one or more rolls from a weapon with deathlock special roll must take a leadership test at the end of the shooting phase before any penny test or morale checks are made. If the test has a negative modifier equal to the number of wounds the target unit suffered, would the deathlock affect that turn? If the unit is stubborn or fearless, the test is taken but without the negative modifiers for casualties caused if the test has failed. The unit immediately suffers d6 extra wounds, which may be saved normally. So it's kind of like Defilgrade, but kind of not like Defilgrade, I guess. You know what I mean? It's not like a specific dude. I don't know. I haven't done the math on this. I haven't thrown it out, but it's very characterful, and it's kind of neat just to have. Hey, you don't know who these guys are. You don't know the province of their weaponry. You don't know any of this stuff. So it's very mysterious. So you've got the normal Reaver Lord, which is kind of like, I guess it's kind of like the Praetor. It's a little bit more points, 30 more points here. And I was kind of confused just glancing at it. You can take Power or Terminator armor, so they give you the 3-up save in here, but don't be confused because obviously if you take Terminator armor, that does confer a 2-up save. It is a piece of war gear in the Horus Heresy war gear, one of these books somewhere, but it is in there. I did find it. It is a 2-up save, so don't be confused by that because at first glance it's a little confusing, I suppose. And then they have the Halo Blade, which is actually kind of interesting. +3 strength, AP3 melee specialist weapon, two-handed. Then the Nemean Reaver, excuse me. So he's like a Dark Angel, and he was in some of the Garrow series kind of things. I assume he's a Dark Angel because, well, he does have a Calimbite Flamebird. I don't even know. Well, whatever that is, he has it. So you would figure a guy that has a weapon from Caliban probably is, a Dark Angel, or was a Dark Angel at some point. And then the Marauder Squad itself. We saw a lot of these rules over the weekend, but we'll get into all that, like I said, in the next video. Then we got new types. This is the actual Crusade Army List edition. So this is where all those new Legion rules are going to be. You got the Praevian, you got the Delegatus, and of course the Herald, which are all technically new. They were free downloads for the show-only special characters back in the day from Forge World. But they were experimental, so now technically they are legal for play, I guess, in the Age of Darkness battles, right? And then it gets into the new rules for all the new units that have come out, like the Leviathan. You've got, of course, the Mastodon, all the Billy Badass stuff that either has come out or will come out here soon. And then there's even a section of special characters as well. I imagine that is that portrait there is based off Christian Bale, if I had to guess. And then it gets into the section in the back where you get some of the actual new Legion of Astartes special rules, like all the stuff we saw on Blood Angels. Actually 4 pages worth on Blood Angels, 4 pages on the White Scars. And then here's that unique Rite of War that's also available to the Shattered Legions there as well. So don't overlook that when you're going through your book. The Dark Angels. Oh, maybe it is just 30. I completely miscounted. So it looks like we've got rules for basically everything out there except for the Space Wolves and the Thousand Suns Legion, which I guess will be coming in Inferno here in November, I guess they said, basically. And then a section on a Mechanicum, new special character, the Macrorid Explorator? Question mark? I guess that's the big-ass thing with, like, the huge kind of servo wheels. I want to say there was a picture at the Forge World Open, the Heresy Weekender, but man, I can't remember seeing it. There is a little teaser pic in here, and I doubt I'll be able to just find it on the fly, but let me flip through here and attempt to. There it is. How about that? So that thing right there, I think, is what they're talking about, and that definitely looks like it is a model, but I could be wrong. And I do remember seeing something like it, but again, when you see as much as I do, sometimes you forget things. And then the Ordinatus and all that stuff. So all the new rules just on the Mechanicum side. Now it gets into core mission stuff, right? Which I actually didn't read too much about this, but there's just basically not campaign stuff, just like one-offs, it looks like. And you get through all that, and then that's pretty much the book. So 300 pages, done skis. And, you know, it goes so fast. So, like I said, it's got a lot of stuff in here. It's packed for veterans and new players alike. I definitely think it's worth picking up and then waiting on the new Red books to come out as well here. I would imagine they'd be out soon because I think we saw them at the Heresy Weekender itself. So I'm hoping that we will see those here in the near future because they will be so much better for you know, constructing your armies and things like that. So that's it for this one, guys. This was our first look review of the new Horus Heresy Book 6 Retribution. We will go over the book or the rules a little bit more in depth in a future video as well for you guys.
Deleted scenes, bonus content, and all the interviews and post-game wrap-up videos can be located in the Hall of Veterans on thelongwar.net. Visit thelongwar.net today and try a week completely free with no strings attached. That's not all. Thelongwar.net is also your hobby resource for exclusive early access with an ad-free experience to all your favorite videos. Members of the Hall of Veterans gain early exclusive access to multiple hobby videos.